Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com. What do you think about this color combination? So pretty. I thought this was a gorgeous color combination, and I'll be honest, Fresh Freesia is not one of my most or even remotely most used colors. I think I only use this maybe more than Misty Moonlight and Cherry Cobbler, which is not really saying much for this color, but these three together, Shaded Spruce, Coastal Cabana, and Fresh Freesia, beautiful color combination. And today we're going to make this really pretty card. This uses a soon-to-be retiring stamp set called Botanical Layers, and I must admit, I just got this free during Celebration. I saw it when the catalog first came out, and I thought it was really cool, but I don't really know what I could possibly do with it. So instead, I waited, and I got it free for a Celebration freebie, and this card is what was created with it. Beautiful card, and I will show you that I used, and I'm at the very end of these. These are the basic pearls. And you can color these using your Stampin blends. So these are colored with dark. I will recommend that if you color any of the pearls, you use the dark. This is dark Fresh Freesia, and I just colored those in. So it took me a long time. These are the ones that were really long. They had the rope version. So I just ordered some new ones. My goal of going through my my embellishments, that's the word I'm looking for, is really starting to work out for me. I'm going to be using the second largest of the deckled rectangle dies. And what else do I have here? I think that's it. So let me show you. I originally had contemplated doing this with 2 layers of deckling by also deckling the Fresh Freesia underneath, but it didn't really turn out as pretty as I expected it would. So I just went back to a regular card. So we are using Crumb Cake for our base. That is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of Fresh Freesia, which is no, this is not 4 by 5 1/4, because you know why? I went with the size of this and then I went up just a slight bit. So let me tell you what this is, because it doesn't exactly match. It's 3 3/4 by 4. I'm sorry, 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, because I wanted to have a border, but I was also trying not to make it so matchy because this is not exactly a 1/4 of an inch down on everything. So this piece here does layer inside, but when you end up trimming it up, it's not quite exactly what you think it will be. Okay, so this, let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, so because we do need this big enough to die cut. So you pretty much need a piece that is bigger or just slightly bigger than this, because you are going to die cut it down a little bit. So just needs to be slightly bigger than your paper. Then I have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 for the inside panel. So I'm going to set that on the side, and then I'm going to set this on the side. We'll put this together while we're waiting for that to dry. So to begin, I'm going to just move these over. I'm going to peel off my plastic here on my grip mat. This is from Waffle Flower. I know they were redoing the design of this, so it may or may not be back in stock, but it's really a cool purchase if you're looking for something and you're looking for a large sticky mat. It's great because it holds whatever it is you're doing down without you having to touch it, which is great. So we're going to use the large flower, we're going to use the large leaf, we're going to use the small leaf, and then the sentiment, I did Thinking of You, but we could also do You Mean the World to Me. What's this other one? Thank You for Everything. We're going to just stick with Thinking of You, because I think this is a really nice card for that. All right, so I'm going to grab a couple blocks. See, this one is good. And finally that, and one more for this. Okay, so we're going to begin with Fresh Freesia, and we're going to stamp this more than once without re-inking it. Okay, I did just re-ink this, so if you can see the spots there, we used a lot during club. So I'm just pressing this in to my stamp pad so we don't get any really hard spots, but I use the same spoon over and over for all of my inks. Just kind of wipe it off. If you really want to clean it well, you can spray it with a little bit of Stampin' Mist, but I just use the same one. So what we're going to do is we're going to ink this up, we're going to stamp it, pick it up, and just slightly turn it again before stamping. Okay, let's see what this looks like. All right, there's one. So we just want like a little bit of a halo image, almost as if it's blowing in the breeze. There's that. Okay, so finished with that. Then we're going to do our next layer, which is back layer. Same thing here. So since I cleaned that off for the most part, I'm going to a darker color. I'm just going to press this in. I use Coastal Cabana a lot. So this one is probably one of my top used inks and top refills. So I will also definitely tell you that if you're buying the ink, spend the extra, I like say $4 or so, and buy the refill, because if for some reason it goes out of stock, you don't have it, you can't refill it. And that has happened to me. Don't let it happen to you. This is going to be a little bit darker because I did just re-ink this stamp. So I'm going to stamp this off first here for the bottom. This is a little bit lighter. That's the other cool thing, is you can stamp on this mat and stamp off ahead of time if you want to. So that's really a cool feature of this mat. All right, now I'm going to try my best not to contaminate anything here. Finally, we're going to go with Shaded Spruce and the large leaf. And these are pretty much just kind of filling in any other space there. I do want these full strength. I probably should have re-inked this one as well, but I didn't, because you want just the color variances. All right, that looks good. If I'd have thought of it like this one in the back does have a little bit more of a shadow there. Same with this one. They almost kind of remind me of wisteria bushes. I would have done that, but since I've already done it, I don't want to cross-contaminate any of my ink there. So I'm going to leave it like that. So that's what we have. One other thing, we're going to do this now before we move into cutting it. I'm taking my bullet or marker tip of my Pretty Peacock, and I'm just going to go around and make little trios of 3. Oops, forgot my third one. Something about doing this, I don't know, it kind of adds a little something to this with really not very much effort. And once it's cut up, it looks really cool as well. I'll do one more little one here. Okay, so there's that. And I do need, oh, see, that's what I did to my hands. I do need, I'm glad I didn't accidentally touch anything, to do this sentiment. That's the only other thing I have to do. And I have a sentiment right here, so I'm going to just put this piece here. It doesn't have to be perfect, so we're not really worried about that. Same thing, Shaded Spruce. Okay. I'm going to stamp it. Good. All right, I'm going to put my 3 colors to the side. I'm going to put all my stamps to the side. And then I'm going to pick this up. And I'm going to pick this up. Just move this over. And before we do any die cutting, what I'm going to do, I just move this for 1 second. So I'll apologize. I know there's a glare there. I'm going to just spray this, which also is kind of cool. If you have this with a, just to show you this for a second, you probably could do this with the glass mat as well. But if you have water that you spray this with, you could actually pick it up and make a background. So when you're finished, you just spray it. It does stain, so I'm not going to say it's not going to come perfectly clean. You can also take this down to the sink if it loses its sticky, or maybe you have a sink in your craft room if you're really lucky, and just rinse it with mild soap and water, and it will get its sticky back. So it's still, again, very sticky. So I'm just going to put the cover on this. Okay, and then we're going to bring this in, and we're just going to decide, do we want more, less? I kind of like the amount that we have here at the bottom, so I'm not going to do a whole lot more towards the top. I'm going to kind of keep it towards the bottom. So I'm just going to put this piece on, put a piece of tape to hold it, and then this is going to run through my Big Shot. I like to put any of the dies that have a straight edge, so a square or a rectangle, a little bit on an angle. What that does is it just makes it a little bit easier on the die. It doesn't quite put as much pressure on them. So, because you can bend them if they're going straight, if you're doing it repetitively over and over again. So here's what we have. Now, we did talk about this in club. This would have been really cool for a layer for something, but that's for another time. I apologize. My washing machine sounds crazy. Okay, And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut 1.5 inches off from each side, because I found that that gives you the most likely way to get an even piece on the middle. So I'm gonna put this over here, take off 1.5 inches, and then you could do it this way or you can flip it. Same thing, cut off 1.5 inches, just lining it up the best I can. Okay, so we have 1.5 inches on each one. And then with our sentiment piece, so I have this, I am going to flag it. I'm not sure if I'm going to go from the other side this time, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my bone folder and just roll both directions. And what this does is it kind of breaks up the fiber in the paper, and it gives it a more of a textured look to it, which actually is pretty cool. So this I did so much on this one, it actually almost looks like linen. It's probably not very easy to see on here, but you just want to be careful, because if you are pulling it really hard, if you don't necessarily have a heavier weight cardstock, it will rip. So I'm just going to go like that and then kind of just straighten it out. And I think I am going to pennant the other end this time. So this one's going to go this way. I'm just going to pick a spot just like that. I'm going to close my door, I'm sorry. Clearly I need to have my bearings looked at on my washing machine. I think they're like a little bit crazy. So then I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana ink pad, and I'm going to just take pieces and I'm just dipping them in. And if you don't, so this little piece here on the edge, if you can't get it, if you don't necessarily have the marker, the other thing you can do is you could take a blender pen, just pick up a little bit of the ink and kind of go along the edge like that. Okay. All right, now all we need to do is put this together. Let me just put this back to kill that glare. Okay. So we're gonna fold this in half. Use our bone folder. Okay, we're gonna layer this on. Now again, this is not exactly a size down piece, so I'm just gonna do my best to kind of line it up. This piece, I'm gonna just hit this, line it up in the center as best as possible. So I'm gonna take my liquid glue and I'm gonna open this up. It makes it a little easier sometimes. I think that's a little bit crooked. And if it makes you feel better, you can certainly put on a piece that is actually a full layer, but I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. And then what I'm going to do is I'm lining these up. So I'm going to put these down, and I'm going to put the middle piece down first. So I'm kind of just eyeballing it. This would also be cool if you wanted to do maybe these three, or even just one of these three popped up on dimensionals, kind of like those focal pieces of art that they used to have. You know, they used to have those at the beach a lot, where it was like the 3 pieces. Pretty neat. Just do your best to kind of eyeball it. Just like so. Okay, and then this is going to go here. I am going to put dimensionals on this. Probably a couple. Probably more than most people would, but you know how I am when it comes to dimensionals. And I feel like some pieces you can't really just use 3 because it's just not quite enough. Okay. There you go. Now my washer decided to shush. I think I'm going to actually, no, because I already put my dimensional on there. Yeah, I'm going to trim this up just a little. Just a smidge. And since I still have that marker here with my Coastal Cabana, I'm going to just hit the end. There we go. Okay. So just kind of rolling with the punches. I felt like it was just a little too big. And I kind of also covered up a couple of my dots. So I'm going to bring this back out and just do, and that piece doesn't necessarily have to stay down. Do that. That looks good. And finally, I'm going to grab my little guys here, and we're going to just put 3 of these. Again, I kind of tried to go for like 3 different areas. So maybe one, oops, one up here, and maybe one down here. So they're in a kind of a triangle. That's what you kind of want to go with. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this card, this technique. I actually didn't even put them on the other one because I was afraid I was going to run out. So I'm going to just pop these 3 on. And then I just have 4 other little guys that I need to use. Same thing with these though. These are a little bit bigger of an embellishment. So we'll go down here. 1, 2, 3 triangle is what you want to go for. So you are going to probably need to use a little bit extra postage for this, or maybe this could be a card that you hand deliver. I know we also have a lot of embellishments that are sequins and have a little bit of shine to them. We used to also have sequins that were flat. You could also add color to those as well. I don't know if I have any handy that are white. These for a while back came in a blue, a pink, and a green. These were really good for shakers. If you put these type of embellishments on, they don't lift up any in the postage, so you wouldn't have any problem with that. But these, because they are raised, you probably are going to need an extra 2 ounces, or extra 2 ounce stamp to add to it. But only other thing I forgot for that one is I didn't put my inside panel in, and I want to do that. You could probably put another sentiment if you wanted to, or add a little bit of something on the inside. Just like that. And I probably should have done this ahead of time if I was going to do it, but we'll just go like that. And then I will just take my little thing here and wipe this off, because even if you get it on the top, it still wipes off, but there's a little something there. It's a little bit around the edge there, but I'm sure whoever gets this card isn't going to judge whether or not I have a little bit of ink around the edges there. So I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on this and the card idea. This is a really pretty stamp set if you maybe are looking for something quick and easy that you want to do. I know that necessarily this didn't look quick and easy because it was several steps in it, but the gist of it, you can make a whole bunch of panels, cut them all out at once, cut them into strips at once, do a little assembly line, and then you'd have plenty of stuff to be able to put together. I want to thank you so very much for joining me. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, you can also turn on the notification button so when I do post a new or live video, it will make you aware so you can join us. If you haven't shared this with a friend, you can. There are links all below the description here. There's a share. You can like the video. All those things are completely cost-free, but a great way of supporting anyone that you like on YouTube that makes crafts or does anything else really for that matter. I want to thank you so much for taking time to join me today. If you'd like to get any of the products that I use today, all you have to do is click below in the description. It gives you a full list of all these items. If for some reason you click on it and it takes you to the store and it's not there, it means it's sold out, which is nice because at least we know now, and it will take you there and you can find some other choice to be able to use. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a wonderful day.